All right. All back everything. Welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Tell a friend. Back with that tab of stock. We're moving right through chapter 4. Halfway there. Y'all keep riding. I like everything. Thick as plate. You know how we do. Thumbs up like hitchhiking. Share it, like it, subscribe. I do not own the rights to this music. Peace to the Queen Sade. And we keep it popping. It says a vital part of the operation was the creation of the umbrella of the student anti-war movement, Students for a Democratic Society in the U.S., with the help of the leading U.S. figures in the Social Democratic Second International, such as Michael Harrington and UAW leaders Victor and Walter Reuter. The SDS, created by the League for Industrial Democracy, became the flagship synthetic New Left organization for spinning off phony leftist operations internationally. In turn, the League of Industrial Democracy was financed and run by the Institute for Policy Studies. Quote, through a process of splitting and then regrouping such organizations, a selection procedure was established for creating terrorist organizations. Raskins Raskin supervised this operation starting in 1963 and including the period when the Weathermen and other terrorist organizations were set up, end quote. As a co-director of IPS, Raskin initiated a series of projects designed for the profiling and eventual deployment of the various regroupments of SDS and left groups internationally. Quote, he supervised the Radical Education Project created in part by the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research, the U.S.'s leading conflict resolution think tank, end quote. Raskin had also been thoroughly trained in psychological profiling through the National Training Laboratories, a project set up for the Rockefellers by the German fascist psychologist Kurt Lewin. NTL specializes in brainwashing through various methods, including transactional analysis and therapy and group therapy, as well as harder brainwashing methods, all employed to create the social basis for running terrorist operations. For example, the second generation of the Bader Monhof gang came from the graduates of the Hildeberg's Patients Collective, an experimental program using mental patients in which the patients were indoctrinated according to R.D. Lang Tavistock schizophrenia reinforcing program, and also as part of the program assigned to develop the capability to produce bombs. It was the same technique used by Francesca Alberni, Albroni, the University of Trento's School of Psychology head, to create Italy's leftist terrorist organization, the Red Brigades. The Trento program was a social work brainwashing program. The same modus operandi was used to create the Weathermen Underground as a terrorist group. Not only was there irrationalist or anarchist indoctrination, largely under the guidance of IPS, but sensitivity sessions, degraded sexual practices and emphasis on the use of LSD and other drugs were dominant features of the conditioning process. The rock drug counterculture, including sexually and otherwise degraded communal living conditions, is the general rule among the strata from which terrorists are recruited. Recruiting grounds. This is the true basis of the radical youth idealism of the 1960s, known as the counterculture movement, that spawned the Weathermen and every extreme left wing organization in the United States under the auspices of Tavistock Institute and the assorted support structure such as IPS. The indoctrination terrorist program functioned in the following manner. The intake process began with a leftist environmentalist profiling and recruitment under the auspices of the Amnesty International. It would last several weeks with drugs and wife swapping apart from leaderless groups, approaches to deeper political indoctrination. Principal stage involved a months long period augmented with drug use and sexual degradation. The third stage was Longo Mai itself, where would be terrorists and revolutionaries would receive basic training on weapons with instructions given by ex legionnaires and professional terrorists. Thus, the environmentalist communalism of Longo Mai, made famous by the generation of 68, was only a cover for terrorist basic training, conditioning, and preparation. Mm-hmm. Just gotta look deeper. Let's see. The next stage is the intake to the terrorist, intake a terrorist group with further training in another camp anywhere in the Mediterranean region, including Israel. It should be noted that this intake process for screening of potential terrorist recruits is identical with the development of the hardcore of the environmentalist movement. The terrorists are distilled from the environmentalist, Maoist movements or recruited from among prison inmates largely through either in prison therapy programs or through halfway house programs. A convict with a pre established propensity for crimes of violence and a potential psychosis is the most easily deployed, expendable sort of recruit to terrorists and related operations. Mm. See what they do. See what they do here. Tavistock Institute. We getting through it. Chapter 4 still the doors of perception. They keep opening. We coming back where we left off. Thumbs up like you're hitchhiking. Peace and love. Like and share it. And subscribe. Yeah. All back everything. Thinker's plight. Big dreams, many streams. Peace and love.